Hello student, my name is RemovableSanity and today I'm reviewing Sacred 2 Remaster on the Series X, developed by Sparkling Bit and published by THQ Nordic. So what is Sacred 2 Remaster? Sacred 2 Remaster is an isometric action RPG that brings back to life a fan favourite. The premise is you play of one of 7 classes who step into the world of Oncaria. The game boasts high-res textures, better combat and bug fixes, modern UI and full controller support, which includes all expansions and updates in one Definition Edition, and 3 difficulty settings with more unlocked once completed. First up is accessibility. With regards to accessibility, there is a limited number of options available. These range from camera zoom, auto collect, auto potion and potion order. For audio, there are a number of options for voice, menu and overall sound effects. There is no button remapping or subtitle options, so those with visual and motor issues may struggle with this game. Next is gameplay. Remasters are becoming more and more a thing, with many wanting to relive the days of old, where the modern audience version of gaming has yet to be infiltrated. So it did pique my interest when the developers announced they would be doing a remaster of a game I've heard mentioned quite a lot by ARPG enthusiasts. This game came out in the lofty days of 2008, where content and gameplay was king, and silliness and sensibilities were less restrictive. So, with nostalgia in my heart, I jumped in to see what all the fuss is about. The game starts in the world of Oncaria, where a mysterious substance known as T-energy is discovered. What starts off as a good thing soon goes very wrong when elves start exploiting it, and it slowly corrupts the world in the process. From the start screen, you are given a wide range of character classes to choose from. They are the Seraphim, Dryad, Shadow Warrior, Inquisitor, High Elf, Temple Guardian and Dragon Mage. Every class has their own stat, style of play and unique skill trees for you to enjoy. A number of them can be customised from the usual sex, hair, skin colour and voice etc. Next, you are allowed to pick an imp, a walking mobile storage, whom you can call upon at any time. From there, it's time to pick whether you wish to fight for the forces of good or evil, which does impact the story somewhat and also your next choice, which is what deity you wish to be protected under and their special skill you want to inherit. But as mentioned, depending on if you choose good or evil, some will be locked away from you. Then it's time for you to start your game, and depending on your class you chose, you will start off in a different location on the world map. And oh boy, is the world map big. Think Skyrim big, but in an isometric view, and you're exploring all of it any way you wish. The world does have fast travel in all main towns, but also dotted around there is resurrection stones to respawn you once you die. However, be aware that it's the last one you activate is the one that you respawn at, so if you haven't turned on one locally, expect a long walk back. There is a tutorial area with a variety of quests to help you understand the basics, but these are fully optional, with the game allowing you to go anywhere your heart desires. The game has a massive amount of stuff to do in Oncaria, with its many varied locations and 600 plus side quests to keep you busy. And don't be thinking these side quests are quick. Some of these can take an hour or so to complete due to their location and the quests being multi-layered. This is a game which was built to suck you in and keep you there for hundreds of hours, which it really does. One quest had me taking a suicidal young lady to die next to her dead lover, who, when we got to his tomb, was actually a zombie. Their love, though, was still shining bright, but he couldn't leave as a demon was keeping him prisoner. So, without ado, we fought to the demon, who gave me a choice: kill them and get a nice reward, or try and kill him so they can stay together. A zombie and wife duo that would have some serious ramifications to the local town's inhabitants. I chose the reward. Speaking of rewards, the game's levelling system is much more complicated than your average RPG. There is the usual attributes such as strength, dexterity, intelligence, constitution, vitality and stamina to deal with. Besides progressing these attributes, you will all get to unlock 10 passive skills from a selection of 29 at various progression levels. But be careful of your choice, as there is no respec in the game, and you will need to restart a new character to choose other passives and combat arts. Another aspect is your character is capable of carrying weapons and shields, wearing various pieces of armor, and can also wear certain jewelry such as amulets and rings, with gems being added to buff them when the blacksmith becomes available. Similar to other RPGs, you say, that's true, but here every one of those elements is all based around a positive and negative system. Each element has a number of stats that will have a positive and negative statuses. These effects can have big influences on your character's combat, a lot more than the usual leveling system. For example, a helmet could have a huge buff in damage to one of your combat arts, but equally have a huge cooldown, preventing it from being used often. Combat arts are 3 skill trees that each have about 5 skills that can be unlocked as you make your way through the game. These can then be further augmented to have different effects or stats. Nothing too unfamiliar, right? Well, you can also combine these skills to provide unique attack combinations, which you can then slot in one of 4 slots as automated attacks. Now, you don't have to combine them, you could just slot 4 skills if you wanted, but combinations do provide more damage and better outputs when used against certain enemies. These are automated to go off once you have pressed the X button, and will even auto-path to the next enemy if you don't do anything. Combat in general is probably the weakest part of the game, with A being your standard default attack, and left trigger is for switching between 4 weapon slots. Right trigger is used to switch between combat arts, and X is to use them, whilst your D-pad is used for potions, special skill and battle stance buffs. Attacking is locking onto a target and using your default stand attack with intermittent combat arts to really take down the enemies quicker. The combat pacing is a little bit too slow for me, and it being sped up would be ideal for a patch. One thing you will notice is that left idle even for a couple of seconds, your character will attempt to attack the nearest enemy with your combat art. Great to ensure you get more experience, not so great when you're in the middle of an inventory switching gear and your protagonist runs off to challenge 10 imps all on his own, with you panicking to finish changing gear before you die. There is a huge amount of content here that I haven't got into, such as mounts that also buff you and allows mounted combat, vast collection of builds, DLC that only PC got, which is now part of the game, and a plethora of loot and side quests to keep you entertained for hours. Next up is graphics. The game's developers have gone out of their way to ensure that the graphical fidelity is kept as close to the original as possible, and for me I would say it looks like a higher textured version of Sacred 2 Gold Edition. This means that those early 2000 character models are kept in all their chonky goodness, but with much sharper visuals. The large number of environments are colourful, vibrant and fun to explore, and being old schooled, every building can actually be entered, so towns actually do feel like towns, and the resident NPCs in them do have their own lives. Following some of the locals as they do their busy work was a joy to behold, and something even more modern day RPGs struggle to do. It's clear that the fidelity to textures, characters, models and the world in general has had a lot of attention done to it. And thanks to a decent camera system that actually allows you to zoom in from a high level isometric to an almost third person view, you can truly enjoy these higher textures in all their glory. The next big feature that has been tweaked is the game's UI, and this has caused a lot of controversy. Old school fans still do like the original layouts and explanations, with newer fans preferring the changes. Because of this, some of the tutorials explanations don't really work anymore, and some old school builds are now nullified. Whilst the game shows off its true old school silly fun, there is a large number of bugs currently as we speak that happened as I played. As I mentioned before, auto attack can't be turned off. some missing animations on minions, and swapping your inventory items to your personal chest isn't quite working. But by far the worst for me was your protagonist getting stuck in an animation and not moving till you reset your game. This happened a good 30 times whilst I was playing, and whilst it wasn't excessively frequent, it was enough to be annoying. Thankfully though, I never had any crashes. Another element is, for some strange reason, is that co-op has been fully removed from the game, which the Xbox 2009 version still has and works even today. What I will say though, there was no screen tearing, great door distances and little to no popping, and the 4K at 60 frames a second is smooth as butter. Finally, its sound. When it comes to music, the game has kept the original sound in every aspect, just with a much more crisper foundation. The game generally favours environmental sounds that are there to enhance the combat. That said, there is a small collection of orchestral, piano and harp-based scores when moving around in the background, which then ramps up at boss encounters. Battle and weapons and UI sounds are great and still have that deep, authentic feel to them. Magic is especially good in conveying that outworldly powers hitting flesh. The game has a lot of voice work from the main protagonist, but also wandering NPCs, each with funny and engaging dialogue. Every quest is only enhanced listening to the pure silliness on display and the way the game doesn't take any topic too seriously.
I haven't had a nice joint on the table in ages. You are welcome here.
My recommendation here would be a good quality soundbar to enjoy your character's fourth wall breaking comments as you explore the vast land. And this leads me on to the rating of the game. Now, I rate games in order of avoid, on sale, great purchase and must own. My rating for Sacred 2 Remaster is on sale. For those who are true new players to the franchise and who want a single player experience, this is a great game to buy with a huge amount of content that is on offer. However, it does suffer from removed features, a huge number of bugs that may very well put a lot of people off until it's patched correctly. The game is currently priced on Xbox at £24.99, or approximately $30, and depending on your skill and patience would give you about 60 plus hours to complete the story. However, this can be extended to well over 200 hours if you try to do all the side quests and get that 100% completion. And that's not including doing various other playthroughs with different classes. New players will have a great time with this if they can look past the bugs, but those that have the 2009 version or even this on PC will be put off by the issues mentioned in the review. I really hope that the developer can turn this around and give this the treatment that its fans are clearly desperate for. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I do hope you like this review, and if you do, please like, share and subscribe if you so wish. And if you would like to put some notes or even just a comment in the comment section, I do like reading them. Anyway, have a great time gaming, and I'll see you all again soon.